right, so it is another new week. I can't believe how quickly they're going by. And this week, our story that we're going to talk about is called Pop's Bridge. And I really like this story. It's a little bit different than anything that we've read so far, but it's really interesting and I think you'll enjoy it too. So, like I said, the title of our story is Pop's Bridge. And you can see that there is a big bridge in the background. And before you read, let's try to make a guess. What bridge do you think that might be? Make a guess in your head, and then when you start reading, you can see if your guess was correct. Our author is Eve Bunting, and you can see there's a picture of Eve with her bunny. And Eve Bunting has written lots of books. I bet you've read some of them before. Our story is illustrated by this man whose name is C.F. Payne. And he is actually a really famous illustrator. And if you look him up, you'll see lots of his pictures. And then remember, after we look over our title and our author and illustrator, we always come over here to our sidebar where we can find more information about our story. So our target skill this week is compare and contrast. And I have to say, this is my favorite skill that we work on all year long. So on Wednesday, we'll talk a lot more about that. Our genre, which is right here below, do you remember what a genre is? See if you can say to yourself what a genre is. Okay, if you said that a genre is the type of story, you're right. Genre just tells me what kind of a story am I reading. So our genre for this week is historical fiction. And historical fiction is a story that is set in the past. So historical means that it's not happening right now. It's in the past. It already happened. And fiction means that it's a made-up story. So this is a made-up story that happened in the past. As you read, look for a setting that is a real time and place in the past, realistic characters and events, and some made-up events and details. So that means that when you're reading this story, it is something that could have happened. Lots of parts of it, especially the setting, are real. They really did happen. But the actual story and some of the events are made up from the author's mind. As you read Pop's Bridge, you're going to notice that there are some words that are highlighted in yellow. So I want you to keep an eye out for those words because those are our vocabulary words. Our first vocabulary word is crew. And a crew is a group of people who are doing work. Our next vocabulary word is tide. And the tide is the rise and fall of the sea. So if you've ever been at the ocean and you put your chair and your blankets down and then the water gets closer and closer and then all your stuff gets wet, that's because of the tide. It's when the sea rises and falls. Our next word is cling. And if you cling to something, that means you stick to it or you hang on very, very tightly. So like my little girl, when I take her to daycare, she clings to me in the morning. That means she holds on really tightly. Our next word is balancing. And balancing means keeping steady without tipping over. So if you've ever watched gymnastics and you watch those people walk on that balance beam that's really narrow, that's balancing. You want to keep on there without falling over. Our next word is foggy. And foggy is a thick mist or low clouds that are outside. So sometimes in the morning when you wake up, you notice that it looks really cloudy and maybe you can't even see the mountains. That's because it's foggy. Okay, our next word is disappears. And if something disappears, that means that it goes out of your sight. You can't see it anymore. So sometimes when it's foggy, the mountains look like they disappear, and it's just because the fog has made them disappear. We can't see them. It's out of our sight. Our next word is stretch. And stretch means to extend or spread out. So if you think of like stretching your arms, I'm spreading them out. And then our last word is excitement. And excitement means a feeling of great happiness. So if you're excited, that usually means that something good or something big is going to happen and you have feelings of happiness. Okay, so that is an overview of our story and a look at our vocabulary words. You're now going to go to the video below this, it's our slideshow, and make sure that you listen to Pop's Bridge on slide 2.